Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk to you about my parliamentary stability policy, and I apologise, I'm going to be referring to some notes here because there's a few things that I want to make sure I get right. So parliamentary stability policy is really one that is in relation to fixing the term that government serve. Now, whether it's 3 years as it is now, or 4 years or 5 years, that's a matter of you, the community, to make the decision about where you want to go with that one. But just to put this in perspective, since 1901, since Federation, we've averaged a federal general election every 2.5 years. So, I mean, is there any wonder why we keep complaining about why nothing ever gets done and why it takes so long to get things done? It's because we don't have continuity with our parliamentary terms. So if you look at a government's timeline, if you average it out at 2.5 years, for the first 2 years, they're doing their job, supposedly, and then for the last 6 months, they're putting all their efforts into how they're going to get re-elected. And that's the problem. Okay, we don't have these parliamentary periods of time that we know are going to be set for the 3 years, and it says in the Constitution up to 3 years. So the problem with the frequency of elections is that they're disruptive. They're disruptive to the economy, they're disruptive to people's personal lives, travel plans, the games the politicians play. You know, you try to plan to go away on a holiday, you don't know if the election was going to be in April or May. It's that uncertainty that it creates. And that's the problem with these elections, having them so frequently. We need stability to encourage investment, and that stability must start at the top with our leaders and parliamentary terms. I'm personally frustrated with the current system, and I'm committed to structural changes in order that we can move forward and prosper as a nation. And all the policies that I present, as far as I'm concerned, are structural policies to try and put in place better systems that better serve us, the community, which ultimately then will let us engage better in what is happening. But at the end of the day, it'll be the community's choice. Okay, you will decide on what length of time the government will run. So it can remain the same at 3 years, and it's set at 3 years, or we can increase it to 4 years, as it is in some states, or if you want to, you could actually extend it to 5 years. And 5 years, like countries like India, for argument's sake, has a general federal election every 5 years. Now, the point is with this is that the term is fixed for a set period of time. So if it is 3 years, it is 3 years. Okay, and then what happens is that the election date is then locked in. So we can then all plan ahead. Once that date has been locked in, we know when the election is going to be in 3, 4 or 5 years' time, whatever it is we decide to do, and we can all plan ahead to know what we're going to be doing at that particular point in time. And also what it'll do is it means there'll be no more 6 months of electioneering. Okay, we're not going to be bombarded with propaganda by all sides of politics. We will set a limit, for argument's sake, 37 days prior to the election day on which we can start campaigning. And I think having that reduction of impact on the community can only be a positive thing. It's about confidence and continuity. Now, we should have a set date, as I mentioned before, on when the elections are held. Now, I've thought about this a bit, and I've actually come up with the 3rd Saturday in October as a good day to hold an election. Now, that's just a suggestion, and it could well be that someone will come up with a better date. But as long as we have the same date, whether it's the 3rd Saturday in October or the 3rd Saturday in February, doesn't matter what date it is, just as long as it is set so we know when the next general election is going to be. Now, the Senate is obviously the issue when it comes to these fixed term parliaments, because in the Constitution it says that the Senate is to run at Senate is elected for twice the period of the House of Representative member. So if it's a 3-year period, they're there for 6. If they're there for 2.5, they're there for 5. So every period of Parliament, half the Senate is re-elected, and so that is the issue there when it comes to that. And I don't believe personally that the community, you voters, would be terribly comfortable with senators serving an 8 or 10-year term if we decided that the term for the House of Representatives should be increased from 3 to 4 or 5 years. Now, personally, I would prefer that the Senate be the same as the House of Representatives. I think the Senate and the House of Representatives should serve the same terms of government. But we have a problem with that, and that's is our preferential voting system. So what happens with the Senate ballot paper at the moment is that above the line where the parties are, you've got to mark 1 to 6, or below the line where I will be as an independent, you've got to mark 1 to 12. Now, if we made the Senate the same as the House of Representatives, you'd be marking 1 to 12 above the line or 1 to 24 below the line. Now, for most voters, it's just too daunting. It would just be an information overload. So I don't know if we can still maintain that preferential system. In actual fact, I think we should go back to the constitutional description, and it says in the Constitution that the members of Parliament shall be directly chosen by the people, and that's Section 7 and Section 24 of the Constitution if you want to look it up. And I think we should scrap the whole preferential voting system and come back to the raw intent is that the candidate with the most votes wins. So therefore we're not having any more backroom deals where candidates are elected into Parliament because of some preferential deal that they've done with other parties. Now, that is a big change, and the political parties, or the current political parties, won't have a bar of it. But if we don't start pushing for it, if you as a community don't start saying, hey, we don't want this preferential system anymore, we want the person who we vote for to be the person who gets in, rather than missing out because of some preferential deal done at the back. Now, these reforms are not technically difficult. It is just a matter of the community, you, the voting community, to decide that this is a better way and to make the commitment to change. Now, I'm running for the Senate as an independent because I'm sick of the games that they play. I believe that most of you, as intelligent, moderate Australians, are sick of it as well. And that's why, as a community, we're so disengaged in the political system. So have a think about this change, this proposed change, and if you can see the benefits to it, get in touch with your local representative, House of Representative member, and start to put the pressure on them, because it is not going to change. We're not going to make the system better unless we as a community make the effort to make it better. So I'll leave you with that. As always, if you've been watching, thank you very much, and I will see you at the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.